It's all about truth. All of it. Every single thing. All boils down to the truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free. All right, welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. This is Press for Truth Live. I am your host, Dan Dix. Today is Tuesday, March the 29th, 2016. And I guess, first of all, for today's show, I should introduce you to my bestest little buddy here. We're going to be joined in studio today by the one and only Kaiser Sose. I want to introduce you guys. This here, maybe we can pull him up on the smaller camera here. This little guy right here is the one and only Kaiser Sose, and don't be fooled by, he plays off as Verbal Kent, but he really is kind of a bit of a Kaiser Sose. So he's going to be hanging out with us today because, like everyone else, he's been following what's been going on with the Donald. I mean, that's all we hear about at this point, and a lot of people are constantly asking me, Dan, what do you think about Donald Trump? Do you think he's controlled opposition? Do you think he is a threat to the establishment? What are your thoughts? So last night we released a video breaking down some of my thoughts on Trump and where I see this going. And we're going to play that for you. It's a short video. We'll play that just in case you missed it. I just dropped that last night. So we'll play that one for you. But, it's a funny one with Trump. Really, here's how I see it, really. My thoughts on it are that the guy is a very smart man. I mean, he's very successful in business. We know he's a smart man. And I think what he's doing is he's really figured out how to tap in to something. He is tapping into a movement right now. The truth movement, the liberty movement, the freedom movement, whatever you want to call it. It is getting very popular, and Trump knows that. And he's kind of riding in on this wave. Now, do I think he's controlled opposition? Not necessarily. According to my research, it doesn't seem that he's been, in societies and whatnot. Having said that, does this mean that the elite can use this scenario and use this situation to their advantage? Guys, let's face it. At this stage in the game, these elections are more choreographed than a ballet. I mean, this is all a huge stage and pony show. This is, it's theater, ladies and gentlemen. It's no different than any other previous election that we've seen as of late. And now just because Donald Trump is in the runnings doesn't change the fact that these elections are very, very much so controlled. And, if a guy like him did get in, you better believe the establishment would be taking him out very soon. And now if it does come down to Trump and Hillary, well, that's a whole nother topic for discussion, and that's what we dealt with in our video. And we're going to go to that just in case you missed it, because we just released it last night. And then when we come back from the video, we're going to be joined in studio, not only with Kaiser Sose here, but we're also going to be joined by PFT's own Caleb McMillan. He's going to help us break this down, and we may be joined on the line later by Anthony Antonello as well, as Silence is Compliance. Yesterday, released it last night, some of our foreshadowing, some of our thoughts about what we perceive coming soon down the road, should we see a Trump-Hillary campaign going on. So here's the clip, and when we come back from that, we'll be joined in studio with Kaiser Sose and Caleb McMillan. When Donald Trump was asked by Megyn Kelly who his national security advisor was, Trump mentioned Richard Haass. That's right, the same Haass who has been president of the Council on Foreign Relations since July of 2003. Donald Trump is far from the non-interventionist of the Ron Paul variety. In fact, it seems to me that Trump is only there to hand the presidency to Hillary Clinton. He has the history with the Clinton family, and by running for the GOP leadership, he's destroying it. Meanwhile, Clinton, who is the biggest neocon in the race, sails to victory despite her illegal activities that the FBI can indict her on. This, however, likely will not happen because the guy who can make that happen, James Comey, is a neocon that does not like Trump. All the attention is on Trump. He says outrageous things that are not, quote, politically correct, enraging the corporate state media and satisfying the sensibilities of many frustrated Americans. But it's all an elaborate dog and pony show. Every election is, and this one is no different just because Trump is the GOP frontrunner. If Trump was a real threat to the establishment, would he be getting all of this coverage? That the delegates wouldn't have been stolen from him by now, like they did with Ron Paul. The real threats to the status quo are ignored, not praised or ridiculed. Trump is here for one reason and one reason only: make Clinton electable. As people become more and more disenfranchised with the system, the means of maintaining power and control will grow even more insidious. We must remain vigilant and 2 steps ahead at all times. I encourage you to do your own research and challenge me in the comments section below by answering this question. Will Donald Trump destroy the GOP and lead Hillary Clinton to victory? Subscribe to the channel, support us on Patreon, and as always, my friends, press for truth. The question, ladies and gentlemen, will Donald Trump destroy the GOP and lead Hillary Clinton to victory? And joining us in studio is Caleb McMillan to help us break this down. Why don't we start by posing the question to you? Is Donald Trump being set up here to destroy the GOP and then guarantee victory for Clinton?
Probably. Yeah, I would. I can't. Whether or not he destroys the GOP, which that's not necessarily.
I was going to say that's maybe not necessarily.
That's not really a bad thing. Although it does just leave that one-party state. Well, it's about time America officially declares itself a one-party state. It's a long time coming. But even if he wins and the GOP is fine, I can't see him actually winning the presidency because he's not going to get the Mexican vote, right? And that's I think that's part of what not why George W. Bush won in 2000. He got a lot of the Mexican vote. Mm-hmm. And then he doesn't seem to have the women vote at all. So
that's true.
It just seems that if either the way it goes, either he wins or he doesn't, like the GOP, and either way they're kind of screwed. And yeah, I can't see it as anything other than just handing the presidency to Clinton.
Yeah, and it seems to me at this stage in the game, I mean, unless you have been brought up and indoctrinated through the various secret societies, you're just simply not going to be getting to a position of president of the United States of America. Have you ever seen any kind of indication that he's been involved with anything? I'm sure he's been involved with nefarious things, but of the secret government nature.
Of that sort? No, not really, but I don't know how if there's a fast track service they do. If he does win the GOP by mistake, maybe he wasn't ever meant to be taken this seriously, and now that there's this whole populist movement behind him, they're going, okay, well, because at one point, Reagan, back in the day, Ronald Reagan, he sounded pretty good. He's talking about gold, and of course, by the time he was president, he was totally just a shill for the establishment. So.
Well, if there is any kind of a threat to the establishment from Trump, what do you think that might be? A lot of people right now are just saying that he's totally a threat to the establishment. What's the threat?
Might put a damper in the whole global government thing because I can't see the world wanting to. You know what? I just had brain fart. I can't see the world wanting to work with a Donald Trump, or United States with Donald Trump as a leader, and he's very anti-UN. That's one of the good things he always talks about. He's anti-UN. But you know that maybe the whole world will unite against the United States, and they'll be able to usher in some kind of world government that's anti-Trump, and that's who knows? Yeah, it's. But yeah, as far as an actual threat to the establishment, not really. Like you said in the video, he's taken foreign policy advice from the guy from Council on Foreign Relations. So like you're saying, it's the real threats to the establishment are just ignored or laughed at. They're not. Well, people do laugh at Trump, but not this while. It's almost like they're scared of him kind of laugh. Like he's not going to be president,
right? And I mean now. He's getting to the point where people are getting quite riled up. I mean, this last rally, I don't think it was the most recent one, but it was one in Chicago. Those protesters it got completely out of hand. What do you think that's going to do moving forward in this campaign? Is that going to rile up Americans to be, you think we're going to continue to see this clash at these Trump rallies? And who's behind this?
I don't know. It seems like every election season people get angry. Like I remember the Bush and Kerry people beating each other up. I think this always happens, and they're just making a bigger deal because Trump is Hitler, and this happened at Hitler's rallies. Yeah. So I think it's really more of just it's just how they're spinning it. I think it's a big media spin thing. Well, there is something about Trump and the way he speaks at his rallies. I mean, actually, we're going to play a clip, and I mean, he just gave a speech recently at, I think it was APEC, and so why don't we pull up the video? We're going to play this now, and we'll try to break it down a little bit. And this was just given a few days ago, and we'll just listen in here and see if we can pick up on the key things, and we'll just kind of analyze this as it goes along. So let's see what he had to say a few days ago at APEC here.
Good evening. Thank you very much. I speak to you today as a lifelong supporter and true friend of Israel.
Well, he's at APEC, so he's got to give mad props to Israel first.
I'm a newcomer to politics, but not to backing the Jewish state. In 2001, weeks after the attacks on New York City, and on Washington, and frankly, the attacks on all of us. Attacks that they were perpetrated by the Islamic fundamentalists. Mayor Rudy Giuliani visited Israel to show...
let's just pause it there. I don't know exactly what he's talking about here, that 9/11 was perpetrated by the Islamic extremists or Islamic fundamentalists. A lot of the people who point to Donald Trump being a truther or awake to the New World Order, the global elite, I find it hard to understand just what level of awake you can be if you believe the official lie of 9/11. And I don't know if he's flip-flopping. What did he used to say about 9/11? I thought Trump had come out against it, or maybe he was just saying it's, questioning the official story but not sure where it came from.
Yeah, well, he is at APEC, so he's probably not going to say something like, Jews did 9/11 or something. They wouldn't say that there. But that's just, Trump will, he'll give the message that he wants to give to the audience, right? So I think, he said some nice stuff to us. I think it was something about the Saudis, Obviously, the Saudis got their hands all over 9/11 as well, so...
Okay, so maybe he's questioning the official story a little bit, but saying, okay, it's maybe the Saudis had more involvement with funding these Islamic terrorists, or
I guess so. Yeah, it's one way to put it. Yeah, I guess that's probably his idea, is that the Saudis had stuff that had a lot to do with 9/11. Yeah. But I think that's part of the Trump phenomenon, is that he's just saying things to the right group of people. He's a businessman. He knows, the art of the deal, right? Yeah. So he knows how to say things that we're gonna like, and then he says other things to, the APAC that they like, and it's just,
No, that's true. He's a businessman. He's ahead of the trends. He understands the buzzwords. That's why he says great things that resonate with us all. Like audit the Fed, end the Fed. He says a lot of things that are resonating with Americans right now because they're fed up with this stuff. But he's tapping in again, ladies and gentlemen, tapping into something and going for that. Let's see what else he had to say here.
I sent my plane because I backed the mission for Israel 100%. In spring of 2004, at the height of the violence in the Gaza Strip, I was the Grand Marshal of the 40th Salute to Israel Parade, the largest single gathering in support of the Jewish state. It was a very dangerous time for Israel and, frankly, for anyone supporting Israel. Many people turned down this honor. I did not. I took the risk, and I'm glad I did. But I didn't come here tonight to pander to you about Israel. That's what politicians do. All talk, no action.
Politician. He's like the embodiment of
about where I stand on the future of American relations with our strategic ally, our unbreakable friendship, and our cultural brother, the only democracy in the Middle East, the State of Israel. Thank you. My number one priority is to dismantle the disastrous deal with Iran.
There we go.
Talk about that nuke deal, or nuclear, I believe so.
Thank you.
I'm sure he'll clarify himself.
I have been in business a long time. I know deal making. And let me tell you, this deal is catastrophic for America, for Israel, and for the whole of the Middle East. The problem here is fundamental. We've rewarded the world's leading state sponsor of terror with $150 billion, and we received
so the nuke deal.
absolutely nothing in return.
Where on earth is he getting these figures that Iran is the biggest terrorist organization in the world?
I've studied this issue in great detail.
I have no
would
idea.
say actually greater by far than anybody else.
I would say that America is
Believe
probably
me.
the biggest terrorist organization on the planet, the American government.
And it's a bad deal.
Yeah, I'm sure you know about bad deals.
The biggest concern with the deal is not necessarily that Iran is going to violate it, because already, as you know, it has. The bigger problem is that they can keep the terms and still get the bomb by simply running out the clock.
Honestly, can we pause it there for a sec? What is the big deal? What is the problem with Iran having a bomb when America is the big bad ones going around everywhere? America and Israel have all the nukes, and they're the ones going around trying to spread their democracy all over the world. And people are on the defensive and basically trying to arm themselves. It's kind of like the American people have the Second Amendment.
Oh, yeah, right.
It's the only thing stopping the system from crashing down on them. Well, it's just like these other countries in the Middle East. They have to protect themselves against big bad America, right? I mean,
if you don't have a nuke, you'll end up like Gaddafi or Saddam Hussein, right?
Good point.
Yeah, it's right. It's like the Second Amendment. The world's Second Amendment is having a nukes. Nukes is the only thing that's going to keep America from bombing your ass.
Yeah, and it's not like we're sitting here saying we're all pro nuke or anything, but who are they to say that you can't do this when these are the guys running the show, man? They're the ones with all the bombs. Let's see what else he's got to say about that.
And billions of dollars that we so stupidly and foolishly gave them. The deal doesn't even require Iran to dismantle its military nuclear capability. Yes, it places limits on its military nuclear program for only a certain number of years. But when those restrictions expire, Iran will have an industrial-sized military nuclear capability ready to go and with zero provision for delay, no matter how bad Iran's behavior is. Terrible, terrible situation that we are all placed in, and especially Israel.
Okay, we're all placed in. America's separated by two giant moats known as the ocean. Yeah. Russia and, of course, Israel. I'm sure they have even though they kind of took the land back in the 40s. But I don't know why America feels like the government always has to get involved with what's going on in the Middle East.
And dominate the region.
How is this not seen as warmongering towards Iran right now?
Problem,
oh, it is. I don't know how you can see it any other way.
But if I'm not elected president, I know how to deal with trouble. And believe me, that's why I'm going to be elected president, folks.
True.
So it's just handing it to Hillary. This guy, if he wins the GOP, I can't see him actually winning the presidency.
And we are leading in every poll. Remember
I don't
that,
think the numbers
please.
are there.
Iran is a problem in Iraq, a problem in Syria, a problem in Lebanon, a problem in Yemen, and will be a very, very major problem for Saudi Arabia. Literally every day, Iran provides more and better weapons to support their puppet states. Hezbollah, Lebanon, received, and I'll tell you
but
what.
if you replace Iran with America, everything he's saying is like true. It's like America is a problem in Libya, in Iraq,
and GPS systems and rockets like very few people anywhere in the world, and certainly very few countries have. Now they're in Syria trying to establish another front against Israel from the Syrian side of the Golan Heights. In Gaza, Iran is supporting Hamas and Islamic Jihad. And in the West Bank, they're openly offering Palestinians $7,000 per terror attack and $30,000 for every Palestinian terrorist home that's been destroyed. A deplorable, deplorable situation. Iran is financing military forces throughout the Middle East.
You know, what we need him to do here is to address where the real funding and the real training and, you know, where the money and who's actually providing the means for the Islamic State to be able to do these things. It's the big banks. It's the Western governments. It's the international financiers.
Yeah,
right?
It's the same old story. Fund both sides of the war and just make money off of it.
Yeah.
That's why they don't want the Russians involved, because Russia, this is in their backyard. They're actually helping Syria, and they just took some city over the weekend. You know, the Air Force provided cover for the Syrian army, and they're fighting an actual war where, this system, they just want perpetual war in the Middle East just to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we'll watch a little bit more of this and
including in the Western Hemisphere, very close to home. Iran is the biggest sponsor of terrorism around the world, and we will work to dismantle that reach. Believe me.
Yes, I believe you. Okay, that's enough. That's enough of this guy. I do believe him that if he does get in, he's going to warmonger his way in. All about these. Rothschild controlled, and that's what it comes down to. And now there's people here in Vancouver literally protesting this. This is an interesting thing I want to get into, and we have another guest. We're going to try to get on the line. Anthony Antonello of Silences Compliance. He's been covering this campaign going on with Trump ever since it began. But before we get to him, I want to go to this clip to show you this protest going on in Vancouver at Trump Tower not long ago, because I think this is a growing thing here in Canada, this concept of xenophobia. And I think because of the fact that Trump said he's going to block Muslims from being able to come in, and then you couple that with the fact that we have refugees with supposedly embedded ISIS members in them. It's causing a lot of troubles here in Canada. So now we have this protest going on here in support of Muslims at the Trump Towers. And when we come back from the clip, we'll be joined on the line by Anthony Antonello of Silence is Compliance. Here's the clip.
In Vancouver, which is still under development. And we wanted to come here to protest the Islamophobic rhetoric that Trump has been spewing out, particularly after he wants to ban Muslims from coming to the United States. This kind of hatred is spilling out here. We're seeing graffiti in our washrooms. We're seeing attacks at SkyTrain. To show our opposition to this growing hatred and suspicion against Muslims and trend for Islamophobia here in Canada and in the United States.
All right, and so it's pretty interesting, and I don't think that's going to be the end of this. I think we're going to be seeing some more of this. And do we have Anthony Antonello on the line? Silence is Compliance. Hello, are you there, Anthony? Do we have you? Hello. All right, we seem to have potentially lost him. We'll try to get him on again, possibly. Maybe we'll try to call him back here. But, you know, one of the things right now that a lot of people in this movement are talking about, and I really wasn't sure if I was going to talk about this today, folks, but you know what? We've had a change of plans here. We've just lost a guest. So I'm going to bring it up. Why not? A lot of people are taking issues with Alex Jones's support of Donald Trump and getting behind him and supporting him to the point that he is. What do you think about Alex Jones, like, really getting behind Donald Trump here?
Well, I think maybe a lot of Alex Jones's audience also like Trump. Like, I was just reading over the chat here during the video, and somebody said, where'd it go? Donald Trump is stopping cultural Marxism. Yeah, Trump has taken a stand against cultural Marxism. And that's the point. He's supposed to sound like that. So I think it's kind of the point where I think Jones is kind of almost, he has to support him in a way. Yeah. Because they say a lot of the similar things, and I think a lot of Trump supporters are also Alex Jones listeners. So he doesn't want to, he's out there for the truth, but, he's also in it for, it's a business, right? Yeah. He does that for a living, so he doesn't want to alienate half of his audience. It's
like we mentioned how Trump is really tapping into a movement that he foresees happening, and maybe Jones is trying to ride in and catch a piece of what Trump is cashing in on.
Maybe if we do have Trump presidency, Alex Jones would be the press secretary. A whole corporate state media, they got to listen to Alex Jones. He gets the filter.
Yeah. Well, you know what I did hear? Who he said he may have as his running mate or something like that, or who he may pull into his cabinet. He said this a long time ago. It was Oprah Winfrey.
Oprah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He said he was going to get Oprah in there.
Jeez, can you imagine? Well, that might help the as a running mate, that would definitely help the minority vote and the women vote. Really up against Clinton. I don't know. I'm not sure if Oprah would do it. But.
Yeah. Well, it looks like we may have Anthony on the line. I don't know if we got audio going for him yet. And I will tell you this, folks. Mad props to Anthony Antonello for doing this, because it was very, very last minute. I literally asked him to do this a couple of hours ago, so he's scrambling right now. And I think we have him. Check. Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me? All right, so we're not getting any audio from Anthony yet. but we can't see him. And if I was any good at lip reading, we could have a very weird and interesting conversation here on PFT Live. But
now you guys know sign language, huh?
Yeah, not really. But unfortunately, he wouldn't even be able to see us, anyways. So. Yeah, unfortunately, looks like we're not getting it. I don't know. Hopefully, our guys can get the audio back going on that. This is a little bit last minute, and sometimes here in the PFT studio, the technical side of things don't all come together, and hey, that's just how it goes.
It's a live show.
It's a live
show as it happens.
Live as it happens, and that's how we do it here. But. Again, just getting back to, I don't want to, we don't have to keep this as a super long show, but where do you see this going? And the question is Bernie Sanders completely out of the runnings here?
I think so. Well, yeah, even if he got the delegates, the way the Democratic Party works, the super delegates are going to override any decision the grassroots voters actually want, and they're all for Hillary. There's establishments for Hillary. Everybody's for Hillary. She's a neocon. I bet you there are people in the Republican Party that are big neocons that don't like Trump, and they're probably for Hillary because just of how bad she is. Yeah,
but she's so bad, though. The people are uncovering some serious dirt. I mean, the email scandal's getting big. The allegations of covering up rape cases and things like that. More and more information's coming out about the Clintons. The drug running, back in the day. I mean, it goes on and on and on. These people are pure evil. How does the American people not recognize this yet?
Well, maybe that's the point. It'll be a revolution eventually, a kind of a pseudo-revolution where people think they're in charge again, but Rothschilds have been around for years, centuries. So yeah.
All right, so I think we may have Anthony on the line now. Can you hear me, brother?
I could hear you. Are you?
All right. Yeah, we can hear you. We'll just have to turn it up a little bit there, Paul. Yeah, great. Thank you, man, for taking this on such short notice. I thought to ask you because you've been covering this campaign, man. You've been all over the campaign trail, and I want to get your thoughts on getting. The whole world's eyes are on Donald Trump. What do you make of it, man? Break it down for us. The Donald Trump phenomenon. What's going on?
Well, I've been doing this, and first of all, thanks for having me on, Dan. I've been doing this long enough to know that there is no mistakes. There are no accidents when it comes to mainstream media coverage. And I know a lot of people, especially maybe around 2 months ago, around that time period, you heard a lot of Trump is a genius. He's getting all this mainstream coverage. He manages to pull all these maneuvers. But what people have to realize is that's not the way, and when I say mainstream, I'm talking CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, New York Times, Washington Post, these mainstream conglomerates. If they don't want to cover you, they're not going to cover you. And I just don't believe it's an accident. I personally believe that we're being played. I'm not really sure what the angle is. But I've just learned from experience. We cannot trust these people. They've lied to us too many times, and if they're gonna roll out here in a year that many of us have predicted, 2016, that they are really gonna pull the rug out from underneath our feet. This is exactly what we said was going to happen. With some minor tweaking and some details that there's no way we could have known. But Donald Trump has ran for president in 1988, then again in 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012. So I understand the angle that they're coming from with he's an outsider, and they're saying that that he is what has been created, him and Bernie Sanders, that people look at them as outside establishment. But when you really look at that as a whole, I don't see how you could say Bernie Sanders isn't establishment. The guy's been in the system for many years. And to Donald Trump, I mean, this guy's ran for president, what, 6, 7 times, and he's donated $100,000 to the Clinton Global Initiative. And I know he got away with saying he donates to everybody. And okay, you know, maybe. But it all goes back to my point is, yeah, I cannot, in any kind of conscience, trust what is being put out over the television. And I think these people are smart enough to know what we know, and that's people are starting not to trust this system, and I think that's their angle this time around. I mean, I just can't see how many more selections they're going to have where people are going to buy into this system. And I think we're really getting down to the nitty-gritty here, and I think that's what we're seeing this time. They realize that a lot of people, especially after 2012, and now they straight up admit that it's not your vote that counts, it's the party, you know. And back in 2012 with Ron Paul, a lot of us were told, oh, you know, it's just the way it is, but you have to play ball. Well, this time, you know, with Donald Trump, he's more mainstream. So, you know, what they're straight up admitting, you know, it's the party. And if they go for some sort of brokered convention or some like a contested convention and pull out like a Mitt Romney or a Jeb Bush, which we hear talk about, I hear a lot of mainstream talking heads on like a local level saying, you know, there'll be a uprising in the Republican Party. I hope they do something like that, because that would shed a whole lot of light on how fraudulent this system is. But I mean, that in a nutshell, that's my take on it. I don't think it's an accident. I mean, these people are too powerful, and you know, there's too much at stake for any of this to be, you know, happenstance. They create something out of nothing. They do it constantly. They did it with Barry. You know, nobody knew who this guy was, Obama. Within 2 weeks, you know, people swore he was the second coming. So this is what they do, man. You know, and I refuse to fall for it again. And that's my take on it. I don't know where you're at, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, well, I hear you, man. And, you know, you mentioned Ron Paul in 2012 and the amazing things he was able to achieve, and a movement that created and sparked in the minds of the masses. And it seems almost to me that Trump is kind of riding that wave and maybe trying to ride on the back of Ron Paul. Do you think he's anywhere comparable to Ron Paul, and is he just trying to ride on what Paul created?
On a principled level, I'd say not at all, and that's my opinion. But as I see where you're coming from, as maybe like a populist movement, then yeah. This is a guy who has the means, who has the money, and he has a whole team of people of the media, because I know how powerful they are at manipulating entire populations of people. But I mean, take the fact that nothing seems to hurt this guy, and like I said, I think this also goes to the media, but there probably is a big part of it that is the people, and like I said, I don't want to fall for it, but at the same time, when I see somebody who goes out there and does everything that is against what, you know, is normally held up to be the standards of what a presidential candidate is supposed to do, you know, of course I'm for that, because you know, I come from a place where I've been burnt so many times by the system. I don't believe in the system, so I could see people who still believe in the system and then see a candidate who's basically, you know, flipping the bird to everybody, saying, hey, I'm going to do what I want, and my popularity is just going to continue to grow. I mean, the guy said, you know, he could shoot somebody in New York City and not lose support. Well, I could see that, and I could see the appeal to a lot of people who are just fed up with the system altogether. Well, and when I say that, I don't believe their philosophy has come far enough where they literally are ready to give up on the system. I could only hope, but I don't believe that because they're still talking about voting and that being a solution to a problem where, my philosophy has gone past that. I don't believe that's a solution to a problem anymore. But I could see this as a way that, yeah, they're seeing somebody that is doing everything. But most people, I believe, aren't with this entire political correctness and watching every word they say. And when somebody comes out and says things that are on their mind, yeah, that's gonna have an appeal to a lot of people. So to a lot of people. So when you have the media backing you up, and like I said, I really believe that every side of the media, as long as they keep giving him this kind of coverage, I think they know exactly what they're doing. It made for them creating another character, but I guess the whole question comes down to, is he going to be the next puppet? Mm-hmm. And so that's really what it comes down to, because we know that United States politicians are nothing more than puppets to globalists. So and that's how I see it.
I agree. And, like we say, at this stage in the game, you just do not become president of the United States unless you've been indoctrinated into the secret societies. And now talking about media coverage of Trump and getting this out to the masses, and especially those who are involved in what we do. What do you think about Alex Jones and his endorsement of Trump? This is a guy who's supposed to understand the system, and that is controlled to the point that Trump ain't going to be getting in unless he's controlled, and if he is, he's going to be getting taken out. Does it make sense to be backing it? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts, personally, if you're at the understanding of, like me, and I would imagine that Alex should be on one who did black box voting and uncovered the entire hanging chads and showed the Diebold system, Clint Curtis giving his congressional testimony about, the entire system is a fraud. And I'm not talking voter fraud, I'm talking election fraud, which is much bigger. And I don't understand how somebody like him can how you could talk about this system being fraudulent, make a career off of talking about the globalists and control. You have to make that logical conclusion that you do not get to be the figurehead of the United States government without you being selected. So I guess he makes the case that he's the real deal, and people should support him, and he's going to overthrow the entire globalist system. Me personally, I think that's a stretch. I don't think you even get to the stage where he's at without it being talked about in many, many back rooms and a lot of globalists with a lot of money. I just don't see them taking chances like this. You're not going to get this far. I personally believe that it's impossible to get this far without them having a say in it. That's what I see.
Well, we do know that Hillary is definitely in the back pocket of the elite. So, right. Could this be leading towards just setting it up for a Clinton presidency, like basically using Trump to discrediting Trump to prop up Hillary? Right.
So, set a pick, like they always do with John McCain, setting a pick for Barry first round, Mitt Romney setting the pick the second round. That is possible. We've seen some major moves in 2007, 2008 with getting Barry in there. So I would imagine that they promised her something more than Secretary of State. But at that level, I'm sure they're able to back out of promises and make moves how, whoever is able to hold down the fort the best they can, with money, power, and bullets, however they handle things. But that is possible. Term, or even just 12 years of a Democrat, It's been a very long time since they did that. That kind of, I'm not saying they won't do it, but if they do it, they're doing it for a reason. And I would believe that if you were to do something like that, you would disenfranchise such a huge amount of Americans that still believe in the system, that I believe that they might be straight up looking to destroy the Republican Party. And we know that these parties work in tandem, but they might be at the point now where they're ready to phase one of these parties out and make it that much more for them, easier for them to move forward. And you got to remember, a lot can happen between. This is an election year. This is the year big things happen. Like 9/11 type things. And I don't know. We've seen the economy collapse in 2007. This time, if there's going to be a collapse, it wouldn't be on a scale like that. It would be a lot bigger. You'd be talking, a global collapse. Is something like that possible? Absolutely. To the point where I would actually go out and say it's probable. So it all depends on what they're going for. Are they going to are they looking to disenfranchise an entire people and beat our heads into the ground? Yeah, they very well might be going for that. Another huge power grab. Are they going to try to keep the illusion going a little bit longer? I really think that their time is running short on keeping that illusion going, because they're at the point now where, like I said earlier, they admit that it's the parties that pick the candidate. So once you get to that point, you realize that your vote at that point means very little. You're talking about voting of one of two candidates that they have picked for you by major parties that of Americans even get to. Once you get to that point, you're really late in the game. So I don't know how much longer they can play this out. I think they're short on time. So at that point,
moving forward, what as well for you, you personally as alternative media, what's going to be the focus moving forward? Is it about exposing the wrongdoings of the Hillarys and the Trumps? Or I know you're not going to be voting, but but what do you have planned with your shows and everything moving forward as this campaign continues? Do we just got to continue to expose these guys, or
I'm doing the best I can, and I know you are as well. And I guess we just keep plugging away. But at this point, that's why I said I kind of hope that the Republicans do some, and it might be on both sides. The Democrats might do it as well, because you can see Bernie Sanders has a lot of support. So if they go into these conventions and they pull people, out of the woodworks, with the Democrats, they might just go against all the Bernie people and select Hillary. With the Republicans, they might just totally push Trump aside. And if they were to pull out, somebody like Romney, the guy who lost to the guy who lost to the guy. He was everybody's last choice in 2012. If they were to pull somebody like him out and pair him up with Jeb Bush, to me, that would be the best thing that could possibly happen. Just for the fact that how much more obvious would it have to get to Americans? Like, hey, you see that? Your vote means absolutely nothing. Nothing, like less than zero. They don't even care about what you think at this point, that they're going to do something like this. But at the same time, I would imagine that they're doing that for a reason. They might be trying to start some sort of civil unrest and do something of that nature. And I know a lot of us have said that they're going in that direction for a long time. But really, 8 years, 10 years. In the scheme of things, really isn't a long time. That's just setting the table for guys like these. So, they really might be at that point right now, you know?
No, it does seem like it, and you can't put it past them. Often they'll throw people for a loop and just do something completely out of the blue and totally, we could see everybody drop out and have somebody skyrocket to the top. I mean, it's tough to say. We've been thrown for a loop before, but that's why we got to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the biggest thing with these people is you have to remember, like, what we think now, and that's why I one of the things I really try to focus on with my show is I try to really get things in stone and tell people, like, so far in advance, but it seems like no matter what I say or how many times I say it or how accurate I am with my predictions, like, by the time life plays itself out, and, like, even just a couple weeks, which is a very short amount of time, like, if I say, hey, Chris Christie's going to drop out. This person, Ben Carson's going to drop out. They're all going to endorse Donald Trump. Like, if I were to say that, say at a certain time, and a month goes by, and that actually happens, it doesn't seem like such a surprise to the people that are watching it play out. Because I seen the way that was going, and they have such short memories that it's really hard instilling it into them. I mean, luckily I have radio calls where I called local radio stations as far back as 2011, where I said Jeb Bush was going to be the one running for president, and so I'm on record saying all this stuff. Now, I don't know what's going to happen as far as a convention, but it's kind of hard to argue with somebody when they laughed at you for mentioning Jeb Bush's name, saying Bush would never run again, and this person gets pulled out and, was actually the Republicans' number one choice for a couple weeks there. It's kind of hard to argue with that, especially when they know that you have that you're on record saying that. But when people watch it play out, they're more likely to get duped. They get, they get suckered in, and that's why, I constantly remind myself, I'm like, these are the people that will take nothing, take somebody you've never heard of. And, I mean, right now, they could be scheming something. Tomorrow morning, we could wake up, news, breaking news. They could give us a name we've never heard of, some, obscure governor or senator. Oh, he decided to step in the race, and, they'll make him, they'll build this guy up, and, within 2 weeks, people, that's all they'll be talking about, saying what a great person this is, and always, he'll make a great vice president. I mean, that's what they do. They create stories and then sell the stories to the point where entire nations, will take it and bite. They'll feed on it, and that's why I just can't allow myself to believe these pathological chronological liars.
Good. Absolutely, and I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that, and that's why we have to, as I said, remain vigilant, remain 2 steps ahead, always continue to expose these guys. Just in closing, I'm curious if you have any plans to head over to RNC or the DNC in July.
I'm doing my best. Those events are extreme. I just got back from CPAC about maybe 3 weeks ago now. I still got a bunch of videos I got to get up from that. And my state, Pennsylvania, is kind of having its own version of CPAC this weekend, which I just got my credentials for that. But the DNC and the RNC, I've been at the RNC as a delegate, and so I know how it goes, and it is a straight up militarized zone. I mean, there is it's. I mean, I got Luke. I was able to get Luke Redkowski, get him in there for a couple hours the one day, but. It was more difficult than anything I've ever done as far as trying to get somebody into an event. These things are straight up lockdown. I as a delegate I had to go somewhere every morning around 7 a.m. They would give me new credentials with barcode scanners on them, and for like 5 days, every morning I had to get a new one. This militarized zone, there were 5 stages of it. Every stage I got to, they checked, they scanned our passes, and we went to the next stage. I mean, you weren't getting anywhere unless you had one of those passes for that day, going through all these checkpoints. So it's very difficult. So the only way I'm going to get in there is if I get accepted, credential wise, and that's not an easy thing to do. I'm going to try. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm not going to go there if I don't get credentialed to get inside because I see how far they keep their perimeter. There were protesters at the RNC in Tampa, and the only reason I know they were there is because when I went to get Luke and I had to walk like 5 miles outside the militarized zone, and when I finally got outside, I seen a bunch of people I know protesting, but you couldn't see them from the highest building. They shut down the entire cities. Yeah. Literal military everywhere, SWAT teams on everything you can imagine, from bicycles to golf carts to mopeds. I mean, they put military fences like a FEMA camp, like a 5-mile perimeter. Yeah. It's like they literally turn an American city into a militarized zone. Well, so, unless you have the credentials, chances are you're not getting in there. I'm going to try, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, I think it is going to be as intense as you said, maybe 10.
This year will be even worse. Let me add that. This year, that was 2012, so we already had an incumbent president. This is, both parties going at it, so this is going to be like, this is going to be like 1984 meets, 1968 Democratic National Convention. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy. Yeah,
I'm going to be looking forward either way to, watch some live streams and see what I could see. But yeah, they have complete control. I mean, I tried everything just to get little signs, I wrote Ron Paul in my hand trying to, get it out, and they have everything on such a the nationwide blackout, just holding up a sign. I mean, it's incredible how much control they have over these events.
Well, we're going to try our best to get there to cover it, and we certainly hope that we see you there as well, so we can people can tune into your coverage as well. Let people know the links. Where can they go to tune into your shows and to follow more of your coverage?
Yeah, go to my website, anthonyantonello.com, or you can find me on YouTube. Just type in my name, and I'm on pretty much all social media. Just type my name, Anthony Antonello, and you'll find me.
Perfect, man. Thanks so much once again for coming on such short notice, and you keep up the great work, man.
All right, Dan. Thank you, brother, and I'll talk to you soon. Keep up the good work, buddy.
Okay, take care.
All right, you too, bud. Bye.
All right, that was Anthony Antonello of Silence is Compliance. Check him out at anthonyantonello.com. I certainly hope I see him at the RNC this year. He does great work. We're going to try to get down to the RNC. That is going to be insane coverage. Like he said, it's probably going to be 10 times what it was back in 2012. But on that note, folks, I don't know if you have any final thoughts, Caleb, about, where we're going with Trump.
Well, if they do kick Trump out and they bring somebody else in, I hope it's not Romney. I hope it's Jeb Bush, because Jeb Bush is hilarious. If one of these criminals have to win, let's make it Jeb Bush, because he's just funny to look at and listen to.
That's a good point. Romney, you can joke about him, but I mean, a Bush is a Bush.
Yeah, and Jeb Bush is my favorite Bush.
Yeah? Yeah, it would be comedians' endless pot of gold if another Bush got in. Yeah. But anyways, folks, that is, I wanted to give us a little bit of our thoughts on Trump here today, and I hope we managed to do that. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to remind you to show your support for our work here at Press for Truth by going to patreon.com/pressfortruth. And this is where you can contribute $1 or $2 a month, and it helps us produce these types of shows. So check out the links in the description, and hopefully you can help us to continue producing these types of shows. We also want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Skunk Beard Concentrates. They are working on getting the website. We'll have that for you soon. But these are some of BC's finest medical grade extract makers of medicinal cannabis here in Canada. So we'll have links so you can check that out soon. But that's it for this week, guys. We hope you enjoyed the show. We hope to see you right back here, same time, same channel next week. Until then, keep fighting the good fight, my friends.